Good evening, guys. It's been a while. By the time this goes up, I should have the cruise video up from me and Joe going out in his C10. Went out, had a little bit of fun, got spun the tires a little bit. You know, you got to play with a big block. Today, I am working on the burb again. So it's been a while. The burb has been put on the back burner because that C10 needed to get painted. That is one of those projects where it wasn't my project, so I had to get it done so that he could get it back and actually be able to use it. There's still stuff to do to that truck, and we were supposed to work on it today, but some family stuff came up and he wasn't able to come over so that we could actually finish those little nitty-gritties up. So instead, what I am doing is I'm going to be replacing those gnarly things. For those of you that don't know what I'm pointing at, the exhaust manifolds. Those are going to be replaced with some nice little Hedman headers. Now, if you're on my Instagram, you saw that I did some flushing here with the flanges. The reason for that is where the exhaust or where the manifolds bolt into the heads is smooth. It's flat. So if you buy headers and you've got too much tube showing through the flat side, you're actually going to have a faulty seal, and you're going to end up with an exhaust leak. So be careful when you buy headers. Make sure you do your research. Buy the headers that are best for you. Hedman just happened to be the best okay grade header for the price that I was willing to spend. I'm not a header guy. I really am not. The reason I'm going headers on the Suburban is purely for clearance, if I'm being 100% honest. Because right now the Y pipe and my manifolds are actually getting in the way of my front driveline, which all things considered right now is not a big deal because, well, I can't run my front axle because I've got 373s in the rear and 410s in the front. That's a bad day all around. But I need to run an exhaust that's going to leave me clearance for my front driveline to get to my front differential. That way I can actually have my four-wheel drive back. If I don't do that, I'm screwed. So that's the project for today. We'll see how far I get. This truck still has all the factory emissions and everything that way. So there's a lot of vacuum lines and stuff that way that I'm going to have to play with and figure out how to route and or delete so that I don't have any running issues post header installation. But first things first, I got to get the headers in, get the old exhaust out, and then eventually I'm going to be building my own exhaust for this from the headers back. I'm looking at something that dumps just behind the axle, the rear axle. Just purely, that's what I want at this point. Not trying to do anything fancy. I'm not building a race truck. That's not what this thing is for. Like I said, the headers are for clearance. So come along with me. As you can see, I've already done some work. We'll hang out. I'll put it on a time lapse and we'll go through and I'll let you know when we come back what all we've gotten done. Well, I got it most of the way out. So you'll see me struggling a lot on the passenger side. So I got one bolt that's a 15 mil that is not wanting to come out so easily. What I either need to do is I either need to get a deep well 15 mil 1/2-inch drive or a 3/8 drive, one of the two. If I get the 1/2-inch drive, I should be able to use my impact and then zip it right out. If not, I may just do the 3/8 drive just for the sake of it. But that one bolt's preventing me from getting my manifolds off the rest of the way. And then once I do that, then I can get the headers in. And then once they're in, I can really start playing around with all the emissions stuff and figuring out where either how I'm going to plug it off, delete it, whatever the case. Yeah, rule of thumb. When you're dealing with exhaust manifold bolts or header bolts or anything exhaust related on one of these old V8s, soak with penetrating oil. I cannot tell you how hard these bolts would have been to get out if I had not soaked them for multiple days with WD-40. And a lot of the reason is because they get hot. They get really hot. A lot. And it's a lot of heating and cooling and expansion and shrinkage. And when you're dealing with it that much, it actually causes the bolts to seize and rust inside the heads. And that is what causes those bolts to break off in the heads, which makes our lives as mechanics that much more difficult. So, yeah, just rule of thumb. Penetrating oil is your friend. Make sure you use it. Other than that, the next steps for me, I need to get that bolt out so I can get the manifolds out. Once the manifolds are out, I'm going to cut the exhaust at the cross member right past my Y pipe. That way I can pull all that out. I'm going to take my Flowmaster off of the rear. I don't know if I'm going to reuse it or not. I like the sound of it, but at the same time, I'm going with a dual exhaust, and that's a single in, single out Flowmaster manifold that I have, or Flowmaster muffler, sorry, that I have. So I've got my eye on a couple of Thrush cherry bombs, or Thrush glass packs, I should say. I've ran glass packs before. They are not my favorite exhaust, but they don't sound terrible if you match them with the right tip. But that's the key. You got to match it with the right exhaust. You can't just friggin' slap it in there and hope it sounds good. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll play with it for a while. I'm probably going to end up going open headers until I can get some pipe put together so that I can actually run this exhaust properly. And I'm not necessarily set on the exhaust itself. So I want to make sure that I'm set on the exhaust before I really start spending money on pipe. Other than that, hey, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for your time. I'll see you tomorrow. And welcome back, y'all. So it's the next morning. Yeah, I had to call it quits. The rain came in. We had a big storm come through. It was off and on all day yesterday, and I was fighting with it. So today I have one bolt left on my passenger side manifold that is being a royal pain in my rear end. It's preventing me from taking the manifold off of the top here. So I need to get that off, and then I need to get my exhaust off. And once I do that, then the headers will go in, and we'll start working on the emissions. So hang around with me. We'll carry on with the job and see where we end up. Alright guys, we're back. So I got the manifolds out. So there's one exhaust manifold, and then here's the other one. Now with this, I'm gonna have to weld a bung into my driver's side header to fit the O2 sensor. Okay, otherwise it'll throw my computer off, and then it's just a big nightmare of tuning and whatnot that I just don't want to deal with. That being said, there are these heat plates. I don't know if I'll be able to keep them on there. We'll see. If I can, great. If I can't, oh well. And then I've got the matter of my bracketry for like my power steering and things like that that I'm probably going to have to modify. So headers can be simple depending on your build. If you're keeping your build simple and you're building like a race car or something that has no amenities to it, they're real simple because it's unbolt the manifolds, bolt the headers on. For what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to maintain a lot of my stock application. So I have some modification I have to do. I have to make everything work. And then once all that's said and done, we're good. That being said, this has so far been a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, but it's a good time because I enjoy doing this stuff. It's fun. So hang around with me and we'll continue on this project. And the next step is to get headers fitted, make sure that they actually will go into place, and then figure out that O2 sensor. I will be back with you soon. Good news, guys, we got the headers in. So I've got one bolt that I need to tighten up. I need to either make a stubby wrench or I need to go buy a stubby 3/8. It's kind of a pain in the butt, and it's in a spot where a socket won't even fit on it. So I have to, like I said, I got to modify a tool to make it work. So, but headers are in. They sound great. They're loud, loud AF. I need to get a full exhaust built, but that's going to come down the road because, yeah, I just don't have the stuff to do a full exhaust yet. But if you listen, there's no leaks in the headers right now, which is awesome. The next step is going to be to button up that last bolt, and then I got to finish deleting all the emissions off of this thing because there's no way I can run it with these headers. If I wanted to keep the emissions, I would have had to spend, you know, $600–700 on a set of headers. It's for some people. For me, I just not really something that I care to do or deal with. Good morning, guys and gals. So if you look, it's raining. Yeah. That's okay though, because today a lot of my work is going to be in the shop. This is my exhaust. Not much to it. Got my little dual 45s into a straight pipe, which is going to go into a cherry bomb, which will end in a 2.5-inch turn down. Now, this is not my permanent exhaust. It's permanent for now, because eventually I want to have a full exhaust built for this, a full dual exhaust. A lot of that won't happen until I'm done with the body modifications I need to make in the rear so that I know where I want the pipe to be. Because at the end of the day, I need clearance. And, well, the best way to get the clearance is take it to a muffler shop and have them do it. Right now, I'm just doing what I can to maintain the clearance that I have, while still giving myself an exhaust that is not open headers. Because, I don't know if it's just once you break over the age of 30 or something, but open headers is just not cool. Unless it's a race car. For a street rig, no, it's too loud, too loud. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So hang out with me, and we'll get on to welding these pipes together and then get them in the truck. Enjoy the rain. So first things first, y'all. Safety. Jacket got stuck in my toolbox. Okay. So remember, welding causes flash burn. Now, unless you're used to that, which, you know, some welders have been doing this for a long time and are probably going to call me a pansy, don't really care. I have had flash burn and I'm good not having it again. Secondly, you want to make sure your surface is clean. I've got everything punched up together. I just fitted it on the truck. It all fits. I can slide it in from the rear to the front onto the headers. Easy enough. So I'm going to weld the joints right here, and right here. And then once all of this is welded, I'm going to come through and I'm going to weld the cherry bomb onto the rear. Now, cherry bombs aren't my muffler of choice, but right now it's giving me something other than a straight pipe. So, and I got them for 50 bucks. You can't complain with a deal like that. I got 2 for 1, so you take what you get. This exhaust will suffice till I can get to a muffler shop and have a custom exhaust built. So just understand, this is a budget build. This isn't something that I'm doing that's going to stay on the truck long term, or at least that's not the plan. However, I'm building it in a way to where it can be long term if necessary. So I will be building spring hangers on this. I will be putting it in and mounting it fully so that I don't have any issues that way. But other than that, it's not meant to be on the truck for the rest of the truck's life. You always want to make sure your tip is as clean as possible. That way you don't have any interference from slag, or it doesn't get sticky, doesn't blow back, because blowback sucks. Alright, so all I'm going to do right now is I'm going to tack these pipes where I want them so that they'll stay in place. You do not want to get the metal too hot because you'll blow a hole right through this thin stuff. So you want to take your time, you want to make sure tack, do it right, and then adjust your settings so that you're not melting through the steel, but you're still getting enough penetration. So just hang out and we'll see where we're at. I've got it set to my standard settings right now, which might actually be just a little bit hot, but we'll see here in a second. Nope, I actually think that's a good setting right there, as long as I'm not sitting in one spot too much. That actually welded really, really well. So, alright, go on to the next one. Like everything's holding well, so we'll go ahead and we'll take this in sections and we'll just keep doing what we're doing. So far, looking good. Well, I just went through some of my footage, found that I accidentally left it on time lapse and lost some of my commentary. So let me catch you up on where we're at. So first things first, I got it all welded together. Time lapse shows that process. Not too bad. This is significantly easier when the pipe is out of the truck and you're able to do this outside of the truck instead of trying to weld it in. But I went under the truck, I did some measurements. So like right here, what this mark is for, this is for my spring hanger. Or not spring hanger, sorry. This is for my exhaust hanger. So what's going to happen is right here I'm going to make an upside down L bracket that's going to come out about 45 and then it's going to have a flat and a hole drilled through it. Reason for that is my passenger side does not have the factory exhaust hangers. So I'm making an exhaust hanger that's going to bolt to the frame so I don't have to worry about this side. On this pipe, I actually have a factory exhaust hanger that I can use. So what this upside down little dip is in my marking, this is actually the width of that hanger. So what I'm going to do is right about here, I'm going to put a upside down L bracket that's going to go vertical from here. It's going to go straight up and then cut back toward the rear of the exhaust. The reason for that is there's pressure coming from the front already where it's going to bolt to the headers. So on the rear, if I point it towards the rear, it's actually going to push it into the exhaust hanger. And hopefully hold it there long term so I don't have to mess with it any more than I have to. I also took the time, where did I put that exhaust tip? There we go. All right. Right about there, you see that little black mark? Well, on my drop down here, I have a similar black mark. So, right there is how this is going to sit. Now, what this is going to do is it's actually canted towards the outside of the truck. So when my exhaust is blowing, it's not just blowing down into the ground, it's actually going to be blowing out away from the truck out past the tire. Two reasons I did that. Number one, it sounds better when you do it that way. Number two, it actually blows the exhaust away from the truck, so it's not just building up underneath and then seeping into the cabin. Part of the reason I'm redoing my exhaust is because my back seat has some fumes that get in it if I let the truck sit and idle. So eventually I'm going to go all the way out the back when I have my exhaust professionally done. I am not a professional at this, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But understand, this is just so that I can get away from open headers. It was cheap. I'm only about $140 into all the pipe and the mufflers and everything in the exhaust itself, not the headers included. The headers were about $170, so I'm about little over $300 total in my whole exhaust system right now. Eventually, I'm going to have a professional exhaust done, and it'll be significantly more expensive. But that's not going to happen until I'm done with my body modifications on the truck, because I want to know where my body is before I try and locate my pipes. And that'll be way down the line when I actually have the time to mess with that. So come with me. I'll put it back on a time lapse while I finish buttoning this up, and we'll get it all under the truck and hung, and then I'll be right back with you. Alright, so before I get out from under here, I just wanted to show you what I did. So everything's in, it's buttoned up, it's tightened up, it's actually about time to start it. So if you look, you got header 1, goes there, 245 degrees, and then a straight pipe down to the glass pack, and the dump that angles out just slightly. I didn't get this one quite as much of an angle as I should have, but it is what it is. Alright, and then on this side, you can see really how far I wanted that dump to be. But at the end of the day, not too bad. I got my my exhaust hanger right there, right to the frame. Comes on up past the transfer case, on up inside over the cross member, touches that freaking support rod, but I don't really care about that because it is away from my fuel filter and everything buttons up. The only thing that's touching is my speedo cable, which I can move so that it doesn't actually touch the exhaust. So, and then there's the header. Alright, don't mind all the leaks because I know I need to address them, but I'm trying to get all my mods done, and then when I go to address all my leaks, I'm actually going to take the engine transmission transfer case out and do like a mass rebuild. So that's going to be a later on project that I'm not worried about right now because the truck drives. So right now I just want to make sure that I can drive it. So give me a few minutes, let me get stuff packed up, get out from under here, and then we'll come out and start it and hear how she sounds. I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm going to do this real quick before my battery dies, but this is my first time hearing the exhaust, and I just wanted you guys to join me. So let's take a listen. Okay, it looks like it's dying down. I guess there was some buildup inside the mufflers. I'm not sure where that smoke is coming from, but she doesn't sound too bad. Not too bad at all. A lot better than open headers, I will say that. So with that, I am gonna log off of here. I'm gonna take my kid and go get some lunch. So thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for coming along with me on this journey. This has been a fun project, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Catch you in the next video.